Montesquieu wrote, "There is no greater tyranny than in which it is perpetrated under the shield of the law, and in the name of justice." Paragraph 1. Now, Sigmundlinger 2017 mentions that crime and violence have been saturated on the signature of histories for centuries. Dismally though, crime and violence will be part of the future for years to come. Either way, when it comes to the criminal justice system, there is a much gray area enclosed by what is fair and what is just. But one thing is for certain though, the courts, corrections, and police are all part of the criminal justice system, and they all work together to protect an individual's rights and the rights of society as a whole. Hello everyone, my name is Jen, and now that I have your attention, I want to do a quick overview with you as to what I will be discussing today. First, I'm going to discuss my criminal scene scenario from start to finish. Second, I'm going to describe the three big ideas that I have discovered while working on my crime scene scenario. And finally, the third point will be what the essential question did my crime scene scenario answer for me. So, first thing is first. My crime scene scenario was about a murder that took place. My offender, Raven Jones, was an employee of Mr. Morello, the victim. Raven had set out for revenge on Mr. Morello because he had her parents killed in a fire when she was a child, who was supposed to have died in a fire as well. Raven, growing up knowing this information, set out for revenge. However, the revenge resulted in Raven to not only commit murder, but also get sentenced to a time in prison. Raven worked for Mr. Morello's family, and while Raven had to deliver paperwork to her boss, she took the opportunity to finally kill Mr. Morello with a lethal injection. Of course, the investigation was the most interesting part of the whole crime scene scenario, which resulted in interviewing witnesses of all sorts. And between the interview and the forensics, the police were able to pinpoint that Raven Jones was the offender in this case. The case continued to the sentencing because now Raven had to go to court, face the consequences, which resulted in a pre-trial, trial, pre-sentence, and finally, the sentence. The case itself was interesting because I was able to not only create my own story, but I was able to learn more about the laws in New York State. One thing I found interesting though was according to FindLaw.com in 2019 is that in New York State, first degree murder, also known as felony murder, has a mandatory sentencing is of a minimum of 20 years, and the max is life in prison. However, the judge in this case, or any case, can also have consideration, but the offender would need to do at least 20 years for murder. Now, let's talk about the three big ideas that I discovered while working on my crime scene scenario. With the first being about justice. Justice is something that this country looks for and is something that we all want, but what is justice? Justice is the delivery within the criminal justice system. It is the process in which those who have committed crimes have consequences. Justice just means more rights and fairness. Now, a second big idea that I learned while working on my creation of the crime scene scenario was ethics. Now, ethics can be described from the moral value as to what is morally right and wrong. In the case of Raven Jones, she knew it was morally wrong to commit murder, but she still did it because moral, right and wrong, it's about having morals. We know it's wrong. We know it's right. But people still do things, such as what Raven Jones did. But finally, the last thing I felt I learned much about while working on my crime scene was social issues. Now, in the criminal justice, social issues would never damper as years are to come because we wouldn't always have the issue. We'll always have the issue of youth violence, drugs, and even violence against women. The whole purpose of the criminal justice system is to protect the people, and we are lacking those areas because it is overpowering our nation. But I want you to think about this. As Downey from Notable quotes on paragraph 10, no date row. Law without justice is a wound without a cure. So just think about that. Justice is always going to be there, but we're never going to find a solution. So, now that I have discussed the three big ideas I have learned, I want to discuss in my last point is a central question that my crime scene helped me answer throughout this course. But one is, where is my role in the criminal justice profession? This is an easy and difficult question because I am not planning on entering the criminal justice system. I had thought about it years ago. However, my career goal has to help those with special needs. The only way I can see myself helping with the criminal justice is when I'm advocating for individuals that need a voice, whether as a defendant or a victim. Because what many people don't realize is that people with special needs don't always understand what is morally right and what is morally wrong. I believe that too many people misunderstand individuals with special needs. Autism especially. The rights of individuals with a disability is my priority. If that leads me in a criminal justice sphere, then I would do what I plan to do, and that is to protect the individuals that need my help, whether in the courts or not, because too many people misunderstand people with autism, and I would not allow for anyone, whether a criminal justice profession or not, to misunderstand someone with special needs, because everyone has the right to understand what is going on, no matter the situation. And it's imperative that everyone understands when we are investigating something, we need to look at all the possibilities. Why? How? Does this person understand what's going on? And that's where I fall into place. But now that I have discussed all that, I want to go over what I discussed. First, I talked about my crime scene scenario from start to finish. Then I described the three big ideas that I discovered while working on my crime scene scenario. And finally, the third point, I discussed how my crime scene scenario helped me with my central question and my role in the criminal justice system. With that being said, I hope I inspire you to look deeper into why you do what you do and allow yourself to improve that in whichever way you believe will help society as a whole. Thank you.